Hello everyone, this is your girl here, Jaden. It's Sunday, yeah! Who feels like the weekend shouldn't end? I do. How is everyone today? This is another interesting episode of Jaden's TV. It's hoping to be an interesting one for you. So today I want to talk about something that has been so dear to me as a girl child. I grew up in Africa. I came over to this country a few years back, so I know what it feels like to grow up in Africa as a girl. The pressure was so much. Trust me. But actually, my conversation around growing up in Africa as a child in Nigeria is actually not to talk about the whole experience directly. I just want to focus on an aspect of parenting, support for the young girls out there. This has been so close to my heart that up until now, I've always asked myself, I've always wondered, if you'd like, when I would ever have the opportunity to reach out across so many people. And I think YouTube, guys, is an interesting time to be alive. It can never be. It would never have been this better. I mean, it's such a huge platform that people can say what they want to say as long as it is within reason. So back to, I don't want to go off track. I want to speak to our mothers. I want to speak to our parents. I want to speak to our fathers. I want to speak to anyone who has a young daughter, a young sister, a little cousin who is a girl. And this is by no means saying that boys, our young boys, do not need that sort of support. Maybe I would probably do something about it, but personally, I have this burning, this hunger in my heart at this point in time to, first of all, focus on the girl child. I think we should all pay attention to our children, our girls. I think we should get to know them. Mothers, I think we should get to have a relationship with our girls. Trust me, going back to 10, 15 to 20 years back home, people were it was literally a taboo for you to have a conversation about men. It was literally a taboo for you to have a conversation around relationships, around love and friendship. People were just left to do what they wanted. People were just left to figure out who they are in lives. Girls, our young girls, were just literally parenting themselves as well as helping others. I know this may not apply to everyone. Some people may have had that support growing up. I used to have an auntie who I think I've made a video about her. If I haven't, it's probably that I have made one but haven't uploaded for a particular reason. So she was my friend. She was my closest friend at the time. We shared so much in common. It wasn't really like that sort of relationship you would have, regular relationship you would have with your aunties. No, she was my friend. She came down to my level. We had conversations. We had trips together. She would want to know who is speaking to me. Some of the boys would want to go and speak to her rather. We like your niece, and she would go, if I catch you near this one, I'm just gonna kill you. She's a girl, she's a baby, she's growing up, please stay away from her. And then she will come back and we'll talk about it. So I had that sort of platform, I had that space with her where I could talk about myself, talk about my fears. But looking back now, and I'm like, how did I manage to navigate my way through all those pressure? And I'm thinking, had it not been that I had that sort of support, and obviously my dad, he was one disciplinarian of a parent. At the time, I didn't understand. It didn't make so much sense to me. But now, looking back again, I think it was probably one of the best things that had happened to me. My mom was also very supportive, but I know that for some people it wasn't like that, and to some people they had more support. Some had more structure growing up, you know. But now, because of my interest in mental health, I think it is very important that we prioritize the things that matter most. Our children, our young generation need our presence. If you're a mom, if you're a dad, and you have a young teenager growing up, even from formative years, you know, please pay attention. A lot happens that you would never get to hear of. Trust me. I've had occasions in my life where I would see some uncles. When I mean uncles, not direct, not my dad's direct brothers or but you know, back then we grew up communally, we lived communally, everyone was respected, every adult had access to families, mom's cousins, dad's cousins. We were all told that it's okay to socialize, to associate. So we had no barriers. But I could still remember some of them, when they walk into the house, I get upset. My mom would call me and say, can you get something for this? I would be so upset. I wouldn't want to talk about anything. I wouldn't want to say anything to my mom. But I despised their presence because I could see the hypocrisy. You know, I would eventually get the water. I would eventually get the drink. I would eventually make food for them. But I wasn't happy. I couldn't make eye contact. And sometimes they wouldn't even make eye contact with me. But parents were so relaxed. It was okay. You know, because I knew, I could see the mask. Some of them would come when my parents were away. Some of them would, there wasn't phones then growing up. I mean, mobile phones. A few families had land phones. So when my parents were away, my mom was teaching when we were growing up. My dad was working as working with the government then. Some of these people will come in, oh, Jaden, come on. They used to call me my native name then. Oh, how is mom? And my face would be like, you probably know she's gone. How are you? What are you doing? I saw you with this shirt the last time I came. What about getting another one? Oh, thank you. I don't want to get another one. I would be so resentful towards them. Because I knew, because I was very uncomfortable, because I could feel what they wanted. They wanted that sort of, it was like a they were waiting for the opportunity. And how dare you open your mouth to accuse your uncle, your big cousin? No, we were never allowed to talk about anything like this. In my case, I was lucky. I had 2 encounters I still remember. On one particular occasion, it was another cousin of mine who claimed to be interested in my friend then, and we went to visit him, myself and my friend. For me, it was okay because we are relatives. So, but I spoke to my friend and I said, my cousin or my relative, my relative wants to speak to you. As a young girl, I had no let's just say I was trusting, like most of us then. We were vulnerable, we were trusting. But at the back of my mind, I've always been this sort of person that would, this doesn't look, it's not adding up. So I am slow to friendship. I am slow to trust people. I can love you from a distance, but I wouldn't want to get really close to you until I am able to say to myself, yes, there is no concerns. So moving forward, that same night, I think the plan was for us to, this is a place where I could freely go. There was no barrier. My parents knew, but it was a relative, like I said. And then we were eating. I was in the kitchen. His mom came in. I served everyone. And then I told him I was going to go. And he went, I can't remember exactly. It was a long time. That I shouldn't go. Instead, I should ask my girlfriend then to leave if she wanted to go. And I'm like, well, you asked me to, I thought you wanted to speak to her, something like that. Because the impression I had was that my cousin was interested in. But guys, no, he wasn't. He had a change of mind. He preferred me instead. Yes. And then I went, you should be embarrassed. You should be ashamed of yourself. I had that pain in my heart. I left his house. And as I speak to you now, I probably run into him a few times. But I was so resentful of this guy that even when he eventually got married, the whole family, I called him on the phone. I think I sent him a text on the phone to say congratulations on getting married. Hopefully, you'll make a better dad at some point or something. I can't remember how I said it. Anyway, he later apologized. He said he realized what happened. He had battled with this feeling towards me for all these years. I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that when you're a mom, when you're a dad, when you're an auntie, when you're a cousin, when you're a relative, and you have a young sister, you have a young daughter, you have a young niece, please pay attention to them. Can we begin to have relationships with our daughters? Can we get to know their friends? Can we prioritize their interests? Can we ask questions? They have emotions. These girls have answers in their minds. They imagine things. They need reassurances. Talk to them. No topic is off limit. No, I would rather they hear it from you than going out there and being fed with lies. Speak to your girls. Get to know their boyfriends. That's okay. Talk about diseases. Talk about healthy relationships. Children, teenagers can actually have relationships without getting into anything carnal. They can have healthy relationships. There are so many things to talk about. But this style of, especially in Africa, where parents think, oh, this is off limit. Oh, don't talk about it. Oh, don't. No, what you're doing is telling them it's okay to talk about it with people. You're telling them it's all right to go out there and ask those questions, those difficult questions. And we shouldn't be doing that. Our children should be, especially our girls, should be able to tell us about the changes in their bodies, about the changes in their brains, about the way they feel. Their hormones are all over the place. Some of these girls become so conscious and fixated about their image that it can either impact on their self-confidence or make them just go boom. Some people develop rapidly. Some other people tend to take their time. People like us were slow developers. I could still remember in my late secondary school days, I would only wear a vest to school because I was still forming. But at that time in class, I remember some girls were fully formed, you know, with all the right things in the right places. That's okay. People are different. But I just want us to have that sort of mentality, especially in Africa, where we tell ourselves that, yes, these are growing up girls, but they have to know, and boys as well, like I said. Talk to them about puberty, talk to them about their circles, their menstruation, talk to them about the ovulation. Tell them what it means to get into healthy relationships. Talk to them about love. Yes, it's okay to fall in love. It's okay to make mistakes. When you're young, you have to experiment. Be open. And when I say experiment, I don't mean mess around with yourself. No, I mean form relationships. Get to know people around you. You know, talk about countries, talk about cultures. You don't need to be out of Nigeria to know about America. You don't need to be in Australia to know about Australia. Like I said, this is the best time to be alive. You can just one click on Google and it takes you everywhere. So let us begin to empower ourselves. And there is never a time that you say, oh, this is late. No. Parents, get information. This is not a call out on anybody. I have no right to judge or question anybody's parenting skills. I know parents are doing so much for their children. I know there are amazing mothers. I know that these conversations are already happening. I know that girls are already being empowered, because there's no point waiting for these girls to grow up and suddenly, oh, you have to have self-confidence. Oh, you have to be a woman. Oh, you have to be an independent woman. No, that's not what I'm preaching. I'm talking about starting from the scratch, giving the children that, especially girls, the platform to evolve, to develop, that awareness, that support. It's okay to make mistakes. Who are you seeing? Can you bring him home? Can he come over for dinner? It is not wrong. If you stigmatize as a mom or as a dad, if you call those things unheard of, they will take them away from you. They will talk about them at your back. You're telling them, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. When you're done, they will go out and do it wrong. So why not bring everybody to the same place? No judgment. We're talking about this. This is the 21st century, microwave age. Everybody's in a hurry. Yes, that is what the day is. We cannot control it. It's not anybody's fault. But we can actually make it better. We have to be involved. And I keep saying this because recently there's something going on in Nigeria. I don't really want to comment that much because I don't have that much information about a lady who came out and gave her account of how she was raped by a pastor. I was in tears when I listened when I watched that video, and I said to myself, what better time to bring up this conversation? What better opportunity? So rather than wait for things to damage and we begin to fix it, can we even start now to talk about it? Can we get to know these uncles, get to know these wolves in sheep's clothing, get to know these devourers, get to know these people who surround themselves around our jewels, our kids, our children. They are precious. You have to protect. They are vulnerable. We have to get to know them. If you're my cousin and you're a male, you're my brother and you're a man, you shouldn't come to my house and get my 10-year-old or 12-year-old to sit on your laps. No, you shouldn't. You should be respectful of boundaries. You should understand that you're dealing with a young girl who is evolving, who is growing, who has lots of things flying on in. You don't have to hug and hold her tightly. No, you don't have to. When you do that, you're creating confusion. Because at the end of the day, we are humans. We've got feelings and emotions. So parents, mothers in particular, can we stand up for our young aunties? I used to know back then where you would hear your auntie telling you to go home and get changed into a better outfit. Yes, it was that communal back then, and I'm hoping it's still the same. I feel strongly about this. I want us to protect our young girls. I want us to get to know them. I want us to get to know their friends. Talk to them about everything, their dressing, their dreams, their role models. And when we are at it, let us empower ourselves. Let us develop. You don't have to go for formal education. You can pick a book. Even if it's a magazine, you can, anything. Just on your phone, click, how can I support my daughter with this question? And you have tons and tons of answers. And if you can't read or write, because I understand that, I mean, respectfully, not everyone can use the internet, not everyone can write, but the children we have today, they're quite smart. You can talk to them. You can support them. They can be the lead. But don't isolate yourself. We should not prioritize work over our children, especially our young girls, especially in Africa, especially in Nigeria. Thank God the system we have there still permits men most of the times to work, to provide for the family, unlike most Western countries where most of the times things are done equally. The woman is working, the man is working, the children are being raised by childminders. But in Africa, we have families, we have aunties, we have relatives. Childcare is relatively easy. So that gives us the time, the opportunity to spend time with our family, to talk to our children, especially our girls, to get to know who they are talking to on the phone, to get to know where they are going, and then to continue to speak to them about believing in themselves, not waiting for anyone to validate you, not waiting for anyone to say, you know what, oh, you're beautiful. No, you are beautiful the way you are. You are not created by accident. There's a reason God created you the way He has done. So it's about self-love. It's about understanding that I am good enough. I don't need anyone to say, oh, you're okay. No. So if we raise them to have that sort of awareness and mentality and believe in themselves, we empower them. You know, in whatever area they choose to go in life, they have the platform. So guys, I didn't plan for this to have gone on. I can't believe I've filmed now for 25 minutes. But hey, I feel like I should say what I said. I feel like people need to hear this. And I'm really, really grateful for your time. I hope to see you again soon. But until then, stay blessed. Bye now.